Hi, my name's MJ. I'm a trans man. I started my transition about 10 years ago. My son was only about 3 years old. I did give birth to him like prior to my transition. I also have a husband, which if people don't know me, they're very shocked when I tell them that. And I just figured I'd answer some common questions I get asked when it comes to being an alternative family and navigating life. So by far, the number one question I get asked is, what does your son call you? My son calls me MJ now. He did used to call me like mama or mom, but he decided to call me MJ, which is my name. I was not like saddened by that. I thought it was a very mature choice and very conscientious. He's older now, so he's more in tune with social situations and stuff. So I'm sure he was considering making things a little bit less awkward and more safe. And I feel very proud of him for that. Another common question I get asked is, does your son get bullied in school? Since my son has an IEP, he has gone to several different schools. It depends on which one can handle his IEP at that current time. And every single school he's went to, he's never had a problem making friends. He's really social. He's very extroverted. This was a concern that I had though, and it was something that held me back from initially making the leap to medically transition. I was nervous how it would reflect on my son. I was nervous about how it would reflect on me as a parent. I mean, I'm sure like people have once in a great while said something to him about it. I mean, kids are kids, like they're not always nice. One time I actually asked him, I said, does anyone ever like make fun of you because I'm trans? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, do you want me to kind of like dial it back and like not post as much about it? And he was like, no, I think you should make a Discord. But generally, people have been really awesome. Both, parents, staff, other students. So I feel very grateful in that aspect. Sometimes people ask, like, what does your son call your husband? My son does consider my husband his dad. Like, he calls him his dad. He does not like me referring to him as his stepdad. This is something he had to come to terms with to do himself. We weren't going to pressure him to call my husband his dad because he did have a biological father. He passed away. So it's something that, we weren't going to pressure him into doing or anything. But my husband has been raising my son since he was like 5 years old. That's over half his life. So he does look to him as a dad. He calls him dad. Well, when he's mad at him, he calls him Susan. That's funny. But a lot of people want to know like how my son handled my transition. And honestly, it's very anticlimactic. It wasn't this huge thing. Even I thought it was going to be this huge thing. At the time, my son had like tons of like specialists, therapists, everything. I consulted everybody. I'm like, how do I go about this? I consulted other autistic people. Like, I was so scared of going about things in a way that could be like potentially traumatic or something. You know what I mean? It was not a big deal at all when I first told him. He's like, cool, I want pizza. Honestly, when I told him, he was so cool about it. Like, I didn't really know if he understood what I was saying. I said it in a very like simplified, like child friendly manner. And I just thought maybe he doesn't understand. But he definitely did. And I only know that because one day I saw him watching videos on his tablet, and a video came up and they were talking about trans people like very like in a derogatory manner. And he immediately like exited out. Like you could tell he was upset. Like he was pissed and he like exited it out. So like at that moment I knew he did understand, because I could tell that he was really upset by that. So I think sometimes we don't give kids enough credit, really. I mean, I'm sure like, as far as like surgery, like that was probably like difficult to see like your parent recovering and stuff, but overall having like a healthy, happy, like present parent, I feel like it just overrides that like 100-fold. As far as like what society thinks of us like in real life every day, I don't think they automatically like see me as a trans man. From what I've experienced, I think a lot of people generally think that like I'm a masculine lesbian and maybe we had a kid together like back in the day and we just stayed together for the kid. That's kind of the vibe I get from people, you know. The reason why I share videos of us like, on the farm and like just doing everyday family stuff is because I think sometimes when people don't have experience around LGBT people, especially trans people, or if the experience they have with us is others telling them that we're, very scary and should be condemned and everything. I think if they come across my trans content, they are less likely to keep an open mind. However, if they see us doing like normal family shit, going shopping, farming, cooking meals, things like that, it's a common ground and it serves as a bridge of communication. And I do feel like it's helped like open people's eyes and become more progressive in that area at least. And so, yeah, hopefully this video helps as well. And I hope you all have a great day.